Welcome to class. Welcome to Lacer's Tech class. First, I want to thank Lacer's the Lacer's community that works every day and gets this class on in between doing everything else. It's for those that are retired, it's a Wednesday. Do you remember what Wednesday felt like in early September when it's hot out, schlepping to work? They're still at it, so we thank them. Also, thank you for doing this. We'll learn a lot of things. Sharing my screen and talking about today's agenda. Class works, I just explained. You are here when you hang up. You can contact us. Don't feel lost at any point. This isn't like learning the times tables where you have to have a test immediately the next day. We are here for everything, and it changes so often. It's good to hear from you. We had a question from a member. How do I check and freeze my credit report? Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. We'll review that. We have a PowerPoint presentation called Fall Smartphone Tune-Up Review. That smartphone in your hand or by your desk, which is hopefully charging if you're not using it, is your biggest computer, your most portable computer. It's a pretty important device. So we'll talk about how to keep that clean, safe, and get the longest life out of it. Important part of that is checking the battery health. That's really one thing you can't change on the phone is the battery. As it gets older, even if it still works, the battery begins to fail. We have another PowerPoint we'll get to, the Fall Scam Alert Review. It's political season, and this is like the time because people are glued to their computers and endorphins are running and people are willing to click on emotion. And this is a really good time to review how to step back from that and see what's legitimate and what's not. And if you want to donate and do things like that, how to make sure it gets to where you want it to go to. If we have time, we'll do some email update. Emails are always getting clogged. And if you have an older email at packbell.net, SBC Global, might be time to think about that. If any of you are going to be traveling for the upcoming, oh gosh, the holidays, to even mention it, holidays, how do you use public Wi-Fi? Do you check in at the airport? I recently flew somewhere. I used the JetBlue Wi-Fi. We'll talk about that. Not sure we'll get to it, but I hope to. A cheap home security camera. For $20 on Amazon, you can get a little globe that sits in the corner of your home, and you can connect it to an app on your phone and just check the room, whether you're there or not. You can even go further and do the outdoors. We always do a telemedicine checkup, see who of us has had some telemedicine experience. If it's been good, interesting, how it went, and of course, our tech Jeopardy. First, who has heard of these hacks and scams where you get like a letter from Ticketmaster or a big account and it says, we have been hacked, we have been scammed. You can hear it from healthcare agencies, Blue Cross, Kaiser, and they're global. You get these big letters. Now, these aren't necessarily things you can do anything about. While it's always good to change your password to an app, to your health insurance, your bank, your money, your from My Lacers, through anything, and update your two-factor authentication. What these letters mean is something bigger. It means these vendors have used another vendor. That's how all this works, right? Like I'm talking to you and I'm using Zoom. So when you go to pay for something, it's using another bank vendor that processes your payment, that moves information. So when these vendors have another company that they're using to store information, to organize information, that's yours and hundreds of thousands of other users, those companies get hacked. So what that means is your information can be out there in some way, whatever information that would be, credit card information, social, can go even deeper. And how that is done is behind the scenes. So there's not much you can really do on your end besides keep the basic protocols that we talk about, change your passwords, know your passwords, make sure you can recover. If you have an old recovery email for your accounts, update that to a phone number or a new recovery email. I say that weirdly because that's so important. How many times have I gone to go and recover an account and it's some old Hotmail account that nobody's used in 7 years? But the passwords work for 8 years, and now all of a sudden you have a new computer and it's not working. So those are important steps. So the solution to that is vigilance. Many of those companies will offer you these free credit checks for a year or 2 years. Join Credit Karma. We're offering you a 1 or 2 year subscription. Maybe you've heard of that. Maybe you've seen that. And they monitor your credit report for any changes, and you get an email. What happens with that is then they'll ask you to pay for a subscription to move forward. I am a cheapskate. I also have no problem not having a life and staring at my computer screen at all hours of the day and saying, yes, I'll be right there, honey. So what I do is somebody smiled. I see that Ruth smiled at that, right? You're used to that. Right? Like, you're right there, dear. You know, I got 4 screens open, my adrenaline is flowing. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere, but that bought me 30 seconds. So I'll go to my 3 credit reports. The 3 are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. It's a pretty consistent thing. Even in the 1970s, when you got and wanted a physical report, it came from those companies. Those are not new names in the world. What's new, by the way, in the world of credit is FICO, where you have this consolidated score that aggregates all of your stuff in movement and gives a number. In the old days, they would just sort of look and see where you were at, you know, if you wanted to get a loan. That being said, you can go and get a free account at any of those. I'm going to share my screen at any of those credit reports. Let me show you. Now, let me finish explaining first. In that free account, you don't have to buy a subscription. You don't have to do anything. You can get a current view of your credit report. Experian, the Experian's version of what they have harvested from your stuff out there. Legitimate stuff, you know, from your credit cards to, you know, mortgage, all that kind of stuff. And you can see if anything odd's on there. And I do it and just take a look. Some of the oddest things I find are like weird addresses that got the number wrong and the street address wrong. You know, if it was like 127 Cherokee, it's like 813 Herakai, you know, same address, like an old address. And you can correct that. You can go in there, by the way, and suggest that that's wrong. But you can also see anything weird that's happened. And you can do that for all 3. And I make a chore of that. Let me share my screen.
Yes, I can.
You can see Miss Moore, thank you. All right, everybody get your popcorn. Here we go. Stay safe and stay vigilant online. Get to the next screen. So who remembers that guy, Ed McMahon? Who remembers?
Yep, never won a dime. I never won a dime.
No, but did you ever lick the stamp
I
for
remember him.
magazines and send it in? He remembers getting those, you know, the booklets, and you could choose 5 magazines. Or in the old CDs, you can get 20 cassette tapes for a nickel and then buy 1 a month. This was a data mining operation. This wanted to see that Miss Moore liked McCall's magazine, and she liked Outdoor magazine and sports magazines. So then they could sell that information to companies that sell products relating to those subjects and market Miss Moore. It was a data mining operation way before the computer. And nothing's really changed. What gives this confidence in the old days was that guy on the left, Johnny Carson's sidekick. I watch Johnny Carson shows all the time on YouTube. I find them comforting and funny still. But that guy created the confidence that, oh, I know him. I've been watching him on TV for 25 years, and let's go do this. So it's the same thing when you get an email and it says PayPal or Wells Fargo, or you see the logo that says Apple or your bank, or could be any product that is well known, Amazon. Anybody can create that, any image can create that confidence. So be wary of that. There's 3 main types of scams right now. Your email, which is the old classic, the old goodie. What's in the email box? You got mail, and all the scary stuff attached. Now we know we get texts on the phone, odd texts. I get odd texts on the phone, and I don't know who they're from odd phone numbers, and they can be very convincing. And we get phone calls, and we don't want to pick up the phone because we don't want to give them a recording of our voice. But those are the 3 first entrances that most folks will experience. After that, it's phishing. You've taken that first bait. The chum is on the end of the hook. You picked up the phone call. Now let's see how good the scammer is. So let's look at an email scam. It's urgent. It comes from McAfee. It's a transaction date. And of course, the big hook in this, it just says transaction complete. That you just spent some money. And in this case, if I look closer, I just spent, see, it came to me, $746.46. I don't know how I'm going to pay Miss Moore my gambling debts back now. She's my bookie on Sundays, you know, and baseball. So I know that was how I was going to pay back. And now, oh my goodness, how do I fix this immediately? Oh, thank goodness. There's a phone number to call, relief, immediate sense of relief. And this has to be official because there's a membership ID. And I remember McAfee, there's a transaction ID, there's an invoice order. And there's even an address. It's in Aspen, Colorado. That's legitimate. That's in the good old USA right down there. So everything on here is a confidence game. It looks like real. And so it's playing that con man, that confidence game. It's financial as well. It's a trusted brand. Maybe you have been in contact with McAfee recently, or it could be going to an older email address. You could still be reading 3 email addresses, your original pacbell.net, SBC Global, and now, of course, you're using a Gmail, something newer. And on your older one, it gets these types of things. What do you do? Delete, 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 and then go check your bank. Fair enough. But do not respond. Do not call the phone number. Don't engage. That is right there, a phishing supreme over there. And so when you get those, ignore them. What's the worst that could happen? They could turn the lights off out in your home. You know that's not going to happen. Let's look at the phone calls. The phones are getting a little better. Spam detected, I get on mine now. And I'm pretty good at ignoring it. I cancel it or let it go through. But sometimes they'll come in, and if they do get through, you know, if you're vigilant and you listen, sometimes you can hear it's a phone room and you can tell sort of it's scammy. But they'll say they're from the utilities, LADWP, or wherever you're from, a financial institution, of course, credit cards. There'll be some kind of offer for student loans for one, big one, because that's in the news. People are thinking, okay, you know, a lot of people are paying student loans off into life. And that's big news, waiting for your call. Whenever those kind of things happen, there's always scams around it. You know, we know that. And of course, they play on loneliness, isolation. There's a phone call there. There's something you can take care of now, just like you did 30 years on the job. And, you know, Lacerswell needs to be applauded. It's like a premier program in the United States that's created a vision for a way to keep yourself engaged as you begin to get engaged in the outside world. But if you don't have that, you can see there's only so many people in the group. That loneliness plays a huge part on solving that curiosity. The answer is don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer. If it's important, they'll leave a voicemail. You'll hear it. Even if, you know, I get a call from Kaiser and they say, okay, the MRI department will call you back. And sometimes I see one of these, I don't answer it. And of course I miss the call. So I have to call back and go through the loop again, but it's worth it. It's worth it to me. Here's a way you can prevent some of that. In your contact book on your phone, there's a little contact app, whether it's Apple or Android. You can add a contact. You can write mom's computer and our 800 number. You can write LADWP. You can write your doctor's office. You can do many things where you know who's coming up. So this way, you know that when it says Maria at the top and the phone number is 818-12345, you know it's Maria L. And you can feel secure answering that. Unless you just don't want to talk to Maria L, then, you know, you can always just let it go to voicemail. Text scams. Here's one that came to me. I've had some really good ones lately. It seems like they get to know me better. It's all AI. And this one said, it's Emma. I tried to call you, but signal bad. I've been taken to the hospital and having a fall this morning. If possible, you can do me a quick favor and text me X. I don't know if you've gotten any weird ones, but that's my first clue. FAVOUR. That's a pretty good clue for me that didn't come from the United States. I don't know who Emma is. I didn't include the number here. It was an odd number. I ignored it, but that was wanting me to text back. And if I text back and I would have said, I don't know you, they got what they wanted, which is a data on a live phone number. They now know that your phone number, your 714-369-1796, is a live living phone number. And that list gets winnowed down and sold to other scammers. Sometimes those texts will just say hi. They'll mention the late bill. They'll say your name is this Jane, and they'll claim to be someone else. Delete them. You can put them in spam, but I just delete them because they change the numbers they send these from so rapidly. The computer is like a fast-moving calculator that just puts new numbers together frequently. They're digital overseas numbers. So I delete them as soon as I can. if somebody sends you and it's from Dusty, and Dusty says, "Hey, Peter, how you doing? Check out this new jewelry I'm designing. If you could buy some, it's going to the, to the kids of, for Kids Christmas Fund." And the Peter's like, "Well, I like Dusty, and I think I might do that." And instead, you would call Dusty directly, contact Dusty directly, and Dusty say, "Oh my God, my account must have been hacked." Or if the account is on Amazon, you can go to Amazon directly. And there is the button to block or report scam on your phone. But if I just get into the deleting habit, the more I delete them, the less seem to pop up. Here's another text scam from Wells Fargo with a phone number, and $240 approved on an ATM. And that looks exactly like.
I listed this in less than a minute.
This looks exactly like if I got a real one, like if I did something and I had to make an approval. And there's a fake phone number on there, and the ID number's on there. So I know I didn't do that. So the paranoid me would pull over from the 405 in traffic and go and check my Wells Fargo account on my phone, but I would ignore this. I wouldn't take the bait on any of this. 3 golden rules of scam prevention. Don't click the link. Don't be keyboard happy. Take your time, let it absorb for a moment. I think we can all realize that there's this whole new world coming at you on your screen every minute of every day. It's not like a book or a magazine. It's not static. It's dynamic. So you can walk away and go to sleep and wake up in the morning and some new stuff is coming on in there. So let that absorb. Use all your intelligence to see what you're doing before you do it. Whatever's urging you to do something, it can wait till you do some investigation, which means go directly to the website, go directly to your Wells Fargo account, this account, that account.
I got one that said, "What's up? I am Mackenzie from Staffing Now." There's a telecommunication, but I didn't even click in to see what it says. Something about telecommuting. They didn't even spell it right, but telecommuting position. They didn't spell position. They spell POISTION. Available, they spell AVAIABLE. Then it says interested in learning, and this learning is LERNNG.
I hope you deleted that, Rhonda.
Learning more. No, I'm getting ready to. I'm getting ready to block it. I just got it.
So get rid of that. But I do want you to know it was legitimate. Linda Wilson took that job, and it actually pays $263,000 a year with advanced health benefits, and it's work from home an hour a week. So I'm sorry that job passed you.
There's a lot of scams that come out like that about getting a job. They'll ask for your resume. They'll ask for all sorts of information about you for you to provide for them. So it's just a data mining thing a lot of times. So if you don't know, if you didn't contact them first, it's a good rule of thumb. It's probably a scam of some sort, especially a job.
No, I didn't contact anybody. I have a job.
Nobody's just calling somebody out of the blue because they saw your resume on a website or something. That's not going to happen. So
it's a scam.
I've been on my job for 25 years. I'm not even looking for one. I'm getting ready to retire.
Well, Rhonda, there's going to be a test at the end of class, and if you don't get a 98 plus, they're adding 7 years to your retirement. You don't get to keep the parking space. So let's go through some popular ways to get scammed.
Elijah, I have advice. I think I got it from the ARP magazine, and it advised me to forward suspicious texts to 7726. And I have been forwarding suspicious texts to that number, and I always get a response, "Thank you, we'll take it from here." So is that a good thing to do, to forward suspicious texts, or is that just a waste of my time?
Can I be frank with you and honest with you? I feel like it's a waste of time. It's a good deed, it's a good thing to do, but I just delete them and move on. I feel like the more I engage with them, the more they come. These are all going to a big bot. I'm not saying I'm not poo-pooing it in any way, but I just delete them and get them off of my experience as quick as I can.
Elijah, what about those commercial ads they have on TV now, trying to get people one of them, the guy is at the grocery store, he doesn't have enough money, and The lady in the back is telling him to download the apps and he can get 250 right away. And
Oh, that's the worst. Predatory lending. Predatory lending. Predatory lending. But I just want to fit, we'll talk about that. I want to get back to the text thing. Yes, report scam, you can forward it to like AARP says. I just want them out of my experience as quick as I can. I feel like that technology is so good, that they'll keep getting someone. And it's like, and remember the old sales days, they were like, if you knock on a bunch of doors, somebody's gonna say yes. So I just try to get out of the way and I get confused, like I can do text back or something. So, but it's a good deed to forward that to an agency if you did that extra time. I don't know if it
Elijah,
slows down.
Elijah.
Yes, Voss.
Okay, I want to add that they have number of phones. Like if I deleted 7 phone, blocked them, but still they have other number they keep calling.
So imagine, Voss, a big computer screen with numbers rolling through it. Like, like one, can you see the black screen with the code going zip through the black screen? Imagine that many available digital phone numbers pop up every millisecond. They can get a new phone number anytime they want. It takes a second, and they just do the same scam using a different phone number. So it's really math, it's just changing numbers. And they can just create it's not based on any phone lines, things we're used to. It's a satellite, it's computers in another country. On that computer, they have these phone numbers, and they roll through the available numbers and they assign them. And they change just like the river flows.
Yeah, I kept blocking them, and they had the other number. They kept calling me from other numbers.
Yeah, no, it's I know. It's almost as bad as not having any of this tech and having one phone in the house. You pick it up and your sister listens from your mom's room quietly. She lifts the phone off the hook and she listens to your call. Let's talk about some ways that people have taken the bait.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
sure.
I'm sorry.
Don't
Real
be so-
fast. I've been getting potential scam and scam alert or whatever it is, all day today. I had doctors here and nurse. Anyway, it's crazy. Now, I've been going in and hitting the red button, which means delete. Should I be ignoring those and let them just ring and hang up? Or should I be
I
hitting
do.
the
I do, and then I delete anyway, but I think you're on the right path, Bev. I think you're on
push the button and delete them?
and delete them. I just delete them. I try to not have any of that on my phone. And it's an everyday thing. It's akin to getting, if it seems weird, but think about the junk mail that used to come in your mailbox. It's less now. Do you remember the Val pack? The thick thing that would come
Yes.
with the shampoo in there? Could you imagine in this environment now, like you put some liquid in a thing that was in an envelope, but like I would get that thing and be like, oh, this is great.
And another question real fast.
So it's just no
I
different
called
than
my
that.
I found the number of when you try to stop calls. So I called the number of do not call, whatever. And the recording said, oh, on so-and-so date, you've already called in. You can't call in again.
Be very
But it's
Bev,
still happening.
Bev, be very careful with calling a phone number. Everything is online. Be wary of calling a phone number is my advice. You don't
No,
know
I'm calling, do not call registry.
but you're not sure. You're not sure. And they
I'm
they're
not sure that it's that.
Okay.
Okay.
The responsibility is on you to ignore and delete.
if I don't have a name besides the phone numbers in my contact list, I don't answer nobody's calls.
I don't either.
I see their name.
That's good advice.
Elijah,
If
Elijah.
They'll
Yeah.
leave a message they'll leave a message if they need you really badly.
Elijah,
Yes, Voss.
how long this do not call list is valid?
I don't think it even, I mean, I don't want to be
Years.
negative Nancy, but you could block a phone number on your phone. That'll never be able to get a call from that phone number again. But I don't know how the registry works. I don't know how they organize that.
It doesn't work like it used to, Voss. It
No,
hasn't worked good in a very long time.
I'm gonna get back. Let me
It
finish
was
this
years
clarifying.
ago that they said I had already requested it. I can't do it again.
So the bottom line is, it's your responsibility to not take the bait, right? Do we all agree with that? You're
Yeah.
you're the final Praetorian guard to your information. If they get through though, they often don't use a credit card anymore, as you can contact the bank and dispute that. They ask for a gift card. They'll say, get a gift card and give me those numbers on the gift card to pay this IRS bill. Can tell you nightmare stories about people following this scam. And once you get a gift card and you give them those numbers that you scratch off on the back, it's over. They get that money and there's no way to get it back. The phone call, if you talk to them, I talk to them sometimes, but they're recording your voice. Remember that. Your voice is being recorded. If you respond via text, they're keeping that. And all that now can get mixed up and turned around to make for a t-shirt, another identity, a fake identity. So the random text means they're looking for a live phone line for identity theft. Here's some prevention. Number one, it's you. It's you. There's no switch on the wall that will stop them from targeting you. You are prime targets. Your retirees, your email and your information has been online in the digital world for a long time. You were the early adapters. You were the first folks with AOL accounts and with computers, and the first one to plug in and buy 30 minutes at a time and have that funny noise. There's a lot of our information out there. So it's your responsibility to keep an eye on what comes in and protect that through good passwords. Update your devices, your computer, your phone, and your tablet. There's update options on those, and we will talk more about those. The more updated your device is, the safer it is from weird apps and extensions and things to actually occur on your computer. Here's one. Apple or Android users, delete old apps from your phone that you don't use. Maybe the kids 3 Thanksgivings ago put on Crazy Farm Game, number 3, and that just sits back there. Or maybe you downloaded a map for Paris when you were in Paris, a downloadable map of Paris, a walking, talking map, but you could delete that. You can remove those. You can always get them back later for your next trip. Older emails. If you have old Crate and Barrel emails, or you signed up for, what's the big one? The Williams Sonoma once, wrote it out physically on a piece of paper, like at a store. Like, oh, this sounds good, before you knew it. And now you get, 20 Williams Sonomas, especially this time of year. All year, you're getting those. Throw that away. Those links, those buttons you would click on there could be old and corrupted. They can go to places you don't want them to. They've been around a long time. So a good night on the couch, deleting old junk mail, and junk mail could be legitimate mail, just things that you never read or never opened, is a good idea. Don't leave it on there. Add contacts with names and numbers on your phone. Spend some time, open that contact book, and clean up your contact list. If you just see the name Zelda and you don't know who it is, and there's just says 81836, and you're just done, delete that contact. If you know it is, you can search, you can put the email in there, the phone number, Zelda Jones, and then it'll be there securely. Change passwords once a year. I won't stress you out on this one, but it's always good to change your passwords. Probably the reason I suggest this is if it forces you to at least know where the old ones are to begin with. So keep an eye on your passwords.
What if you put the order emails, like when you order something online? What if you save it to a file folder?
That's fine. That one's fine. I keep receipts like that. I'm talking about the catalog that comes in, still from JCPenney.
Oh, okay.
With the fall sale on drapes. Like, because I bought something from Drapes there 10 years ago. So that's stuff that I'm not interested in. It just shouldn't sit there. It's sort of like just junk in a box, piles of old junk from the mailbox. So the one thing to accept with whatever numbers there are to call, forwarding there is to call, is that avoiding a scam is a part of digital life. The opposite side of it is we all get to meet like this every month. And boy, this is September. We're going to have our October Halloween party, November Thanksgiving. And then we move on to our class graduation, and we'll see who class valedictorian is this year. Last year was Miss Moore. But digital life, that gives us these kind of conveniences, lets you check your bill, talk to the grandkids far away, have some intellectual stimulation, watch videos going back, comes with the price. Everything along the way, from you looking in the screen to the little invisible signal coming out of it, coming through the air, going to a tower, going to a computer, somehow connecting all of this together, everybody has a hand in. So it's your responsibility to know what you're doing, keep it simple and keep it smart. You know, the people I know, we get a lot of calls from the very educated, very sharp people like yourself that get scammed. Like this, click the thing, then they're in trouble. And the ones we don't get call from, I describe it like this: like you ever have a friend that you go to a restaurant, and no matter where you go, they're like, I'm gonna have a hamburger and fries, you know, because they know what they're doing. When they get a junk email that's something they don't know what it's about, they're like, I don't know, it's not hamburger and fries, I'm gonna delete it. My smart friends are like, oh, I try everything. Maybe I know what that is, you know, and they click that. So be simple. Order the hamburger and fries. Click things that you know. Most all scams are phishing. They're trying to get information that is for further communication, or data they can use to make a false profile, identity theft. So just don't engage. There are safe ways to check your accounts by going directly to the website or using the app. So I get a weird email from Wells Fargo. I neurotically check. I have to have the Wells Fargo app on my phone. I trust it. I use it. I've even gone as far as having the biometrics, so now my thumb can tap a button and it skips the password part. That's weird. So they'll cut my thumb off at an ATM one day. But that is a real convenience. The same vigilance you've used from the office back in the days, you know, when you were double checking your work, making sure the buck didn't get passed to you, and that you had all your boxes checked before you move that assignment to the next department. Use that same vigilance now. You're not retired from that. You're not retired from checking your Wi-Fi bill, from your credit cards. You're not retired from checking your cell phone bill, making sure there's no errant charges on there. That remains your responsibility. If you see something urgent, take a moment on this computer. This computer is an adrenaline machine. That phone is an adrenaline machine. That's why everybody walks around staring at it. I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? It's really weird. People just stare at their hands on these glass devices everywhere. And it's just old and young and in between. And it makes you do things. So take a step back. We can be the wise character from Kung Fu, where we can step back and see if it's really urgent and if we can wait and address it later. And finally, the best part is it's convenient. You can check on people, you can contact people, you can slip and fall, and you can call 911. They can track you. There's a lot going on there. So the next time you do one of the Lacers Wells walks, you'll have that phone on you. So I'm going to stop my share now. Go back to you all. Any questions on some of that scam awareness?
Elijah, is there an app that you can use, like the job computers, when you send out an email or whatever? When I was still working, we always got something back saying it had been received. Is there an app that we can put on our PC like that?
There are some services that have a return receipt, but these days it's not widely used. Right? It's not as convenient as in the old days you can get, but that was also usually institutionally. Like if I was working with Marilyn Wong in the same department, I would get a bounce back that would say Marilyn Wong received your email, she'll be out till Tuesday, you know, something like that, or it's been sent to her assistant, you know, M10 or something like that. Those aren't as common anymore. Have people show in a lawsuit, and we work with a lot of attorneys. I've spent a lot of nights zooming to Century City. Is in an email, and this is interesting. This really is interesting. Like what you say and do online is forever and ever and ever and ever. What we're doing right now somewhere is forever and ever and ever. So when you send an email, even if it's sent in haste, that's somewhere. Behind an email, there's a lot of computer code language that shows it left Novella Jordan's home at 10:12 p.m. on Saturday, June 12th. It went through a satellite in Georgia by, you know, Atlanta. It was received by a computer in New York. They opened it at, there's code that describes all that. And you would show that code, which is available to anyone, to the judge. You know, you have a forensic report where the judge would look at that, whatever's happening there, and they could say, yeah, I mean, everything here shows it arrived where it's supposed to. So it's weird now.
Emails can be used in a court of law. They definitely can be used.
Yeah, no, they can. So, you know, so definitely don't, next time the repairman breaks something, don't send them a nasty email. Remember, it's forever. So any further questions about those scams? Because as you know, right now, somebody is getting scammed. Somebody you know is getting scammed. Let's talk about some new tech. This 'tis the season for new tech, right? Here are some sales coming on. Let's ask a group question. This is going to be part of how we judge each other, okay? So whose phone is 5 years or older? Their smartphone. They're 5 years or older. Okay. Who is 4 years or older? Who is 3 years or older? Who is 2 years or older?
Two.
Who is 1 year or new? Okay, the thing to check as the years go higher is the battery life. That's the one part that you really can't do much about. It's not like you can pop some 9 volts back there. They're usually not, changeable on your phone. So you want to make sure that your phone, this battery has some health to it. They last a long time now. By the way, for a t-shirt, what are the batteries called now that they use? They're not AAA, they're not 9 volts. I know Peter has this answer. Oh my God, it's 3 o'clock. Let's take our stretch. All you new people here, even once in a while, goes to a Facebook page or an Instagram page, or just some kind of social media, check in with the family, as part of, goes to the Lacers Well page, just does some, some of that.
Facebook.
Any of it.
Every day, every
I think
day. I
Joyce,
check
just
my
once in a
email.
while.
I think everybody does, probably.
Okay,
I
so
check
let me
my
ask you a
email
question.
Every day and Yahoo. I
want
mean,
you to
and
dig deep.
Facebook.
Who has stalked an old high school friend and seen if their name is on Facebook? Come on. Who has put in the name Johnny Rivera and see whatever happened to that person?
Well, is that similar to when you get a message that a friend has something up on Facebook, and then you notice that they have 5 mutual friends, and I get curious and I want to know, well,
It's close to that. It could be, Jeanette, it could be, you could type in, Bill Jackson, and say Pomona, California, or, whatever job you had back then, or group, or, affiliation, and try to see if that person's on there and see if their avatar's on there. I think everybody's thought about that. So that is the beginning of sharing information. Those kind
Now I'm going to do it.
Yeah, now check me out.
What I'm asking is, when I check to see who the 5 other friends are, and I look to see who they are, and I check into their Facebook, is that also getting connected with them?
That's, if you're sort of, I use the silly word stalking, but you're getting connected with them. Now, you can choose to be a friend of theirs or not, but be prepared that they're now on their feed going to see stuff about you.
I do the same. I do the same
That's
thing.
how it works. So
I go into the friend's friend.
Yeah. So did you say that, Gladys? Are you stalking old people friends from the past? I knew it. I knew it.
You knew it, and then I find
from
somebody from way
1968.
back.
Who remembers that?
Yes,
I mean, I still love them. They still
I
keep
do.
me on. I go to the
I
store
have
when you
one. I
open
got
it,
several.
Yeah,
when you
me
open them, it
too.
has a crack. Who remembers the crackling sound? When you first open them.
Oh, no, I don't remember
It has
that.
this little, the paper goes, it's like the binding, and they're beautiful. They really look like an Andy Warhol painting when they're stacked up high, and there's hundreds of them. That's an invention that every student's used. And before you had an iPhone or an iPad, or kids had any of that technology, before you could type things in your email or save notes on the computer, you grabbed in the marble notebook for school. Some of them had the times tables in the back and different tables of information. What year did the marble notebook start getting sold in stores? What year were you now with your mom and dad going to that store in your neighborhood where you would buy the pencils, the protractor, the ruler, a little plastic thing, a loose leaf book, something to hold everything in, book covers? What years? And the answers are going now in the chat. What year was the marble notebook sold in stores? Da 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 da. All right, ready?
I'm using my phone, and it doesn't seem to be going through. So can I tell
Call
you?
your number out. Call your number out, please.
1876.
That question is, are you ready? The answer is 1887.
Oh,
Most people can date the
wow.
notebook back to around 1887.